America has always been uncomfortable with an ugly reality, the prospect of war. But in the face of deadly weapons, economic instability, and terrorism, the immediacy of maintaining national security continues to be the major challenge faced by almost every nation in the world. In an age of push-button solutions, there is a misperception that technology alone will bring victory in war, and that battles will be fought at distance without huge loss of life or the physical destruction that war inevitably brings. But warfare requires putting soldiers on the battlefield, where a bullet has no political affiliation, and victory is measured by living or dying. The battlefield is everywhere. One military unit that is continually preparing for combat are the U.S. Navy SEALs. It might be rescuing prisoners from terrorists, gathering intelligence on enemy troop movements, or destroying a target with an airstrike. Such missions are called direct action. With over 60 years of operating from sea, air, and land, U.S. Navy SEALs measure their success and failures in blood, self-sacrifice, and a ruthless determination to win. A SEAL sniper team is attempting to enter an urban area occupied by hostile forces. Their mission is to locate and rescue a captured American soldier being held hostage. The sniper and his spotter fear only one thing more than death or capture: failing their mission.
In naval special warfare, you have an exceptionally highly motivated individual who is a risk taker. Somebody who's going to go out there, take on the biggest challenge that you have, and oh, by the way, they're going to succeed because they don't have the word failure in their vocabulary.
Inside the deserted town, the enemy could be anywhere. This is not a situation for hope and enthusiasm. The sniper team's time on target is limited.
Our guys thrive on the challenge, and when there are things going on in the world, they want to be the first one there. That's what we live for. You know, the cream rises to the top. These guys all want to be the cream.
The psychological effect of seeing one of their friends nearly torn in two by a .50 caliber round traveling at that velocity. We shoot multi-purpose rounds that do explode on impact on steel and on humans. And every time they hear a muzzle crack, one of their friends goes down, that's enough for them.
U.S. Navy SEALs are a military unit that constantly trains for war in every part of the world. What distinguishes them from other U.S. Special Forces units is their ability to operate in water.
When that SEAL goes into combat, they're not out there with a fleet to support them. There's no room for error. You need to make sure that that individual who's standing on your left or on your right is going to be there before and after the bullets start flying.
When compared to Mach 3 fighter planes and computer technology, SEALs may appear obsolete, a romantic throwback to the ancient warrior. But even in this age of high technology, combat is often a trial of strength and will, decided by emotion. SEALs maintain a solid connection to their traditions of combat, adapting to circumstances, innovation in tactics, and a savage dedication to win in wartime.
A SEAL is a guy who is willing to do whatever's necessary to get the job done. What makes SEALs different than other conventional forces and other forces throughout the world is we all share a common bond. The BUD/S training, the Hell Week, all that stuff, it is still the core of what we are.
Our philosophy is that which doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And when these young men have to go out and perform their mission in the SEAL team, they push the envelope. And what we try to do is provide demanding training that builds their confidence, that builds their spirit, but also, too, keeps them safe.
Getting to the operational teams takes over a year for any man willing to pay the price of BUD/S.
So good! On the side, Cordell.
Basic underwater demolition SEAL training is a back-breaking course that separates the dedicated from the ordinary.
Catch that man in front of you. Cordell, you're going to have to put out.
For 6 months, a student is put through tedious, demanding training to filter out those who have the dream but not the desire.
The people that go through this course may be involved in conflict, and I would take it very personal that if we had to pass somebody out of here that wasn't ready to meet those objectives, I would take it as a failure on my part.
We're taking your time, Cordell, move!
Individual attention is one of the primary motivation techniques instructors will use to push a man to succeed.
Get on the line, don't wait! Don't save anything. Cordell, you stop now. Everything you've done at this point doesn't mean a thing.
Yeah!
Well, then move!
Eventually, each student is closely scrutinized by instructors who probe for weakness. Each week, performance times must improve, or the student is dismissed.
You gotta move, one movement. Can you pull?
I had trouble making every run. In first phase, you're gonna run 4 miles in 32 minutes. A lot of people are like, well, that's no big deal. Well, it's in the soft sand with jungle boots on. I puked at the end of every run. Regardless, I puked. I did not pass a run until Hell Week, and they said this is your last chance. You got to pass this run or you're gone.
You're gonna have to hit the ground sprinting. You're almost out of time, Cordell. Hit the ground, you hit it. Just sprint!
BUD/S kind of gives you the will. No matter what's happening to you, you're going to win. Ours is a unique school, and that's what makes us who we are. Without that school, we'd probably be just like anybody else.
Keep going. 10:08. Keep going. Don't stop. Towards the devil pin.
10:08. Good job. That was his time. He had to make a 10:08 to pass. Or under 11.
It's a phenomenon. You can only see this here at BUD/S. Run over, sir.
Ready?
The lessons learned at BUD/S are part of a legacy, one that dates back over 50 years to the beaches of World War II and the celebrated underwater demolition teams. Underwater demolition units began to train in 1943 for both Atlantic and Pacific invasion duty. The UDT mission was simple. They were responsible for charting beaches and destroying obstacles that hampered amphibious landings. But their methods were primitive.
They prided themselves on their ability to hold their breath. They didn't have any big tanks of air. Some of them didn't have face masks, and it was not until late in the war that they even had swim fins. They just went in there with a pair of shorts and did the best they could, towing inflated bags carrying explosives, which they put on these underwater obstacles and blew them away.
When Korea exploded in 1950, UDT Frogmen expanded their operations. For the first time, they performed missions inland, setting the precedent for a war that would change everything. Vietnam, 1964. Vietnam was an unconventional war and demanded an unconventional response team, one that could successfully navigate the waterways and coastlines of the country. The Navy